Howdy healers, welcome to Zero to KSM Hero, a series where I'll be attempting the Keystone Master Challenge in patch 9.1.5 on a brand new healer. The rules are simple. For the Alliance, least favored healer, least popular covenant, only moderate help from main character allowed, no linking raid or IO to main character, hugging only, and finally the challenge must be finished before posting the first video to avoid any external help or assistance, and of course for the sake of integrity. Alright, so we're back at it again, and this time we're skipping the group finder because me, a big dummy, forgot to record myself doing it. But as soon as I was into the group and clicked on the flight path, I was like, oh yeah, recording, that would be smart. So I hit record. I think actually this was the one where I realized that I hadn't recorded the Theater of Pain +6 that I had done before, so you can still see the details stuff from that +6 that I forgot to record, and it didn't even occur to me that I wasn't recording until I was in the next group, so yikes. I don't miss any recordings after this. I guess I learned my lesson, so we're on our way to Sanguine Depths +9. Yeah, we got into a 9, so... And this is extra brave of me because I'm not that confident about Sanguine Depths in the first place, so I guess you could say I'm taking a chance on myself. I think the true enigma here is that I have no idea how I got into this group. I hadn't done an 8 yet, I believe. Looking back at my previous dungeons, I hadn't even done an 8, let alone a 9, so I'm still just kind of surprised that they invited me to this 9 out of nowhere. And, I mean, I'm not gonna complain about it, but it was one of those things where it was like, alright, I guess you're desperate. It's not like it was super early in the morning. It's not like it was super late at night. This is probably 11 in the morning server time, which would have been 1 my time. So, I don't know. I got in though. Alright, so we have our group of gamers and we're ready to go. The rogue is the group leader. Not that that means anything, but, you know, proof that sometimes running your own key as a DPS is the way to go. He got a group, I guess, so that's something. I recognize that we have 3 physical DPS in the group, and this is my story for Sanguine Depths, I guess. And it means that I gotta get Mystic Touch on mobs. Which, not sure how good I'm gonna be at that, but you never know. And so, of course, they wait until now to ask if we have a Venthyr. And it seems like we don't. I'm doing a pinch of damage, which is more than usually happens with me, so I guess I'll take it as a win. My statue does have quite a long range, but I never quite trust it. So I will replace it, even though you might notice I probably didn't have to. And in typical Sanguine Depths fashion, we're gonna see our melee DPS step in traps and stuff like that. It just happens. Blizzard hates melee, which is one of the reasons why I never want to play melee. My poor crippled hands can't handle the pressure that Blizzard puts on melee DPS. Me standing in Volcanic. You can see my statue still reaching him all the way over there. I'm a little wasteful with my mana. You can see it's pretty low, even though we're not even to the end of this hall yet. And this is usually where things get dicey because we got a whole nother hallway to go, and sometimes people aren't great at giving you time to drink. So what I normally would do is I would just sit and drink like as soon as that pool was over. But it is handy to be right here just in case they pull this stuff, which I mean most groups skip it, but it's a pug, so you never know what you're gonna get. Alright, we got a lot of damage going on here. But it's okay because I got time to drink, so I feel pretty confident that we're not going to die because of the damage. Now, if I hadn't sat and drank at all, I feel like this pool would have been awful. So I roll ahead and drink. I think that's the my MO for these dungeons. Roll ahead and drink. Roll ahead and drink. Being able to just drink to get your mana back, which is like the complete opposite of what a raid healing is like, where you kind of have to conserve your mana a bit, or rely on externals to get mana back, or like pots or whatever. In Mythic Plus, like you know that you're gonna have time to sit and drink for at least a couple of seconds, so you can burn through your mana if you have to, and you don't have to feel like later that's going to wipe the group. Whereas in a raid, if you burn through your mana right away, like, you're not going to have anything for the next phases or the last, quarter of the encounter. So that may be a wipe, because if every healer does that, obviously it's a problem. But in Mythic Plus, it's like, well, I can just drink after this. It's no big deal. Of course, there are instances where it's like they don't notice that you need to sit and drink. Monk's pretty good at Volcanic just because they have a couple of things they can use while moving. Like, yeah, I know Essence Font is kind of underwhelming, but with the amount of mastery that I get, like going higher and higher, because I really put no effort into stopping it, Essence Font isn't too bad for that. Alright, so again, rolled ahead and drunk. If I was... See, and look at that! Mana with 2 N's. It's like he knew that was my name, actually. So, surprise for people that don't know that. My name is Mana. Anyway. So, this boss is one of those, like... can be really good or really bad depending on how the group is. This is like a lot of damage. I don't think it feels that bad to heal as a Mistweaver just because of all of the healing cleave you have with your Vivifies. But this is where it's like really important to get Vivify out there, or not Vivify, Renewing Mist, my bad. Feels good to get a lot of Renewing Mists out there just so you can cleave with Vivify. But you see how fast I can get somebody back to full health if I want to. It's insane. So it feels pretty good. But what doesn't feel good is like running out of mana too quick. You can see how much damage I took there. But I got everybody back to full really quick. Granted, it's at the cost of a lot of mana, but what can you do? So for this Severing Smash, the idea is to run back so that you have a little more time to grab the orbs or to heal in between grabbing orbs. And we have nobody interrupting that Hungering Drain nearly fast enough, so it's hurting. And here's what's happening there. For some reason, keep thinking that my leg sweep is my fortifying brew, and I click it, so that was my bad. I think I end up moving Fort Brew I end up moving it to another key, because, like, obviously this isn't working out where I keep pushing it. Also, you do notice a lot of clicking, which, okay, to some extent I can't help but click, because I don't have, like, the mobility in my hands, and I do use, like, a 12 side button MMO mouse, so it's not as if I like I'm not trying, but like my hands can't reach very many keys, and my ADHD makes it really hard for me to remember what keys go to what sometimes. So I do my best to like work with what I've got, but yikes. Okay, so I finished this fight like literally on fumes, and the tank does a little healing, the DPS does a little healing. This is what groups should be doing, honestly, if they have any doubt. I should have drunk for longer, like nobody was in immediate danger right there. I could have got another like 3 seconds maybe, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but it can be a lot. Like obviously in that fight with the boss, like 3 less seconds of drinking and we might have wiped. So that's where your 3 seconds can make a big difference. Especially when you blow through mana like I am in this build. Which again is probably like if I haven't been looking at my overhealing, and I don't think I ever look at it because it doesn't really matter in Mythic Plus, uh, like at all. I know that sounds like really like flippant, but it doesn't really matter. Like I mean, obviously your goal would be to do as little overhealing as possible, but with stuff like you know, Dreamweaver's Soulbind where overhealing is converted into like a little shield or whatever, it's not like it's a complete waste. So that and like because I keep renewing Mist up all the time or like as often as I can, like there's always going to be some overhealing. All right. So, we'll keep talking about and like looking at my mana usage and see if that changes at all. If I was a very kind and good healer here, I would probably put Tiger's Lust on somebody there to break their chains. But I tend to save Tiger's Lust for me when possible. I know that's a little selfish, but I promise it makes sense. The only person looking out for you in these random groups is you. So, see, and even I'm not looking out for me, actually, because I just step in stuff. But, yeah, the only person that's going to be looking out for you is you. So, if you have cooldowns and you ever doubt on whether you should use them on someone else or yourself, it's not the worst to save them for yourself. And here I get hit with like multiple silences, which in a high key could be like a party death, actually. Looking at this now, like I shouldn't be standing on this bridge at all because I think there's a mob that can come pretty close that I could pull on accident. But I'm not the only one doing it, so there's that. Would be a great time to hit revival if I wasn't silenced. Luckily our tank is like looking out for some of the DPS and healing them a little bit where he can. And it looks like, you know, our other DPS aren't lazy when it comes to using their personals, because you can see our hunter used acceleration. I was scared of this guy for the longest time, especially on my hunter, because with so many visual effects going on, I like literally could not see those stupid tornadoes at all. Especially from a distance where so much was just going on. But then like I stood in melee and I was like, oh, actually they're really easy to dodge if you're just standing close enough. So I think instantly become a little less scared of that guy. Alright, again, sitting to drink just a little bit. I don't expect the tank to wait for me just because I sit down. Like, I'm expecting him to pull and let me, like, I'll give him time to get aggro or whatever and then maybe heal. Alright, this is the hall where... this is the hall of intense damage. Sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. It's pretty intense. I don't like big poles here unless the tank is, like, particularly geared or something, but this guy seems to know that he's not, like, a god. And he's going this way, which is unusual, but, you know. We don't complain, we just follow the tank. That's our job. It isn't worth arguing. Even if I argue, like, what am I gonna argue? Like, if I want to do a different route, I can tank. Like, I'm a monk, I could tank. Alright, DPS are doing pretty good right here. Nobody got obliterated. Alright, he's announcing a big pool. I put my statue a micro inch closer, closer just in case, I don't know. Just in case the tank decides to kite. So this is where I make sure I get Mystic Touch up on the mobs, and I stay out of stuff, because if I take too much damage, I'm not going to be able to heal other people. My DPS are blasting. Or trying to blast anyway. I'm using cooldowns to protect my guys. And like, not only did I not go through a crazy amount of mana there, but like, that was pretty easy to heal. And like, even the rogue, it's like, oh, they did such a little amount of damage compared to everybody else. They still did 4k, which isn't that bad for a 9. Like, and they're the group leader, so you're gonna have to assume that, like, maybe they're a little bit... They have, like, a lower gear level than most of the people they invited. Again, you want to be, like, the lowest geared person in your group when possible. Alright, I sit and drink a little bit because I just want to make sure that I have enough juice. Jumping does not make you go faster, but it feels like it. Tank is getting a little bit obliterated there. But his self-healing is insanely good. Alright, I roll ahead and drink. And the tank pulls him back, which I wish I would have known he was going to do that, because I would have kept drinking for another second. Alright, so, we have me standing and stuff. We have everybody taking damage. I'm, like, immediately panicking. I've never been good at this boss. These stupid little orbs that go flying by. Now, I think I understand them better now. I run into this hallway because I'm stupid. I try to save this guy, but, like, that must be his, like, I don't know, pre-death thing. I hate it. Like, it's not even like the pod where they're savable. So I move, but, like, everybody stands in it with me for a while, which makes it extra awful. I'm trying. I'm almost out of mana already. Luckily, our DPS and, like, our tank, like, we're all standing on each other. It's really bad. This is one of those, I think everybody's panicking, and it's making the whole group so much worse. I have a mana pot, but I'm feeling like this guy isn't even to half health, and me drinking one mana pot may or may not help. So I'm hesitating to take a sip, but I do, because, like, I know that we're not gonna do it without it. The thing is like, a lot of the self-healing stuff is on cooldown. Not all of it, but a lot of it. What I need to be doing here is probably standing, like, further back to give the melee more room. And, I'm just afraid of, like, going too far away or something. But here we have our first, like, decent castigate cast go off. Like, I'm literally out of juice. I have nothing. I have, Cocoon, but that's it. And that's not gonna save the group. It didn't help that I stood in that either. At this point, this is savable, in my opinion. Like, right now, with my experience, this is definitely a savable pull. So I should be popping Cocoon probably on the tank, just to give him, or myself, just to give me more time. But I end up standing in this gunk and seating myself. Tank heals me, thank goodness. Like, if this tank wasn't a god, we would have died ages ago in this fight. Like, I got carried hard. I have nothing, I have nothing, I have nothing. I held on to Cocoon way too long here. I should have just used it. But I don't know why I didn't. I must have just been, like, panicking. Okay, I should have heroed that. Yeah, I agree with that, but, like... You see how everybody's like, well, I messed up. It was me. I should have heroed. Like, you see how everybody's, like, taking responsibility for it being as hard as, like, possible? Yeah, and I agree that boss usually sucks. Like, nobody likes that boss. Nobody's like, woohoo, we're at this boss. He sucks to heal, and he sucks to tank, and he sucks to DPS. Like, there's no way around that. He's just not fun. I think in, like, a really good group, like, when you get into a group where everybody overgears it and, like, pops personals and stuff like that, then it's not a bad experience. But, until then, it kind of sucks. So I love that everybody in the group is kind of like, we could have all played better here. The tank literally could not have played better. Like, he was a god, and he deserves some credit for his godliness. Like, all of the healing that he did, if he hadn't been doing that healing, we would have wiped, like, instantly. I mean, I guess if we would have wiped, we could have just heroed the pool, but we would have had to run back, so... We're grateful for our tank here. Jack Sprat is a god. But as far as our DPS goes, love that everybody was like, well, I didn't play good, you know, I could have done this better. That kind of introspection is really great. Like, always going in assuming that you're never going to do anything wrong kind of just makes for a bad group. Where it's like, you know, because I could have been like, everybody's standing in this castigate, that's why I can't heal it. But, like, I'm standing in stupid stuff too. I'm too close to the melee. I'm not really helping with damage. Like, there's no reason why I need to stand that close. And, I don't use Cocoon. Like, I made a lot of mistakes too. So, like, yeah, maybe they messed up by not heroing or whatever the rogue did, stood in something. But it wasn't just like that, you know what I mean? Right, it's orb time. Grab orbs. Important here. Get everybody healed as much as you can before this crap comes out. 'Cause this part sucks. Yep, and I suck, actually. I suck. How cringe. I didn't even remember I died here. Yeah, I was too busy trying to heal people, and, like, you can't. You have to just trust that your group is going to kind of take care of themselves. This is where having, like, even one battle res would be convenient. Like, a Jack is doing his best over here, but, like... He's running out of juice. Grab as many orbs as possible. With 2 people dead, there's extra orbs. Like, this hunter is a god. You see that? Hunter almost has his personal up. Unfortunately, Jack Sprat beefed it, and the rogue is like evasion tanking right now. like they're trying so hard. And see, now the tank is saying it was his bad, was trying something new. Nah, dude, that wasn't you. That was me. Like, that was me bad. That was your healer bad. I mean, and maybe the Ret Paladin too, because, you know, he stood in some stuff. But, like, that was also me bad. It was mostly me. I'm dumb and I don't know where I'm going. Oh, he bubbled. He bubbled? When did he bubble? Oh, does he think the bubble, like, killed us? I don't know. Maybe he did it. I didn't even notice him bubble, so... I'm still not gonna blame him. Like, I stood in stuff. That's why I died. Alright, we got this. Like, we're a competent group of gamers. I'm gonna try to eat a food thing. Alright.
How dare you interrupt my research?
I mean, it doesn't really look like you're researching. You're just kind of standing here. Alright, so what I try to do here is kind of spread out a little bit so that hopefully orbs spawn where we can grab them without everybody having to feel like crap. And they saved me an orb, so I should have grabbed it, but I was afraid that it was their orb and that they should grab it. I learned my lesson here. Don't stand at anything. But, like, also I'm running around when there's nothing on me, so I don't need to move. So, like, obviously minimizing your movement there will help you heal better. But I'm not really great at that yet. I'm just too busy panicking because I know how much damage everything does.
My patience is wearing thin. The light shines even here.
Got 2 orbs. This is gonna have to do. Draenei Racial coming in clutch here. Our tank helping out a little bit. I finally used Cocoon. It's a little late, but here's my biggest issue. If you haven't noticed it in this version of the fight yet, I did not put Mystic Touch on the boss. I'm being greedy with orbs also. Tank heals me. I heal him. I finally get Mystic Touch on the boss.
My patience is wearing thin. The light shines even here.
Alright. Get to the top of the stairs, drink. Usually, not always, but usually, the tank pulls these mobs back into this area, so we can kind of, like, count on having a couple of seconds. But it looks like he's waiting for us to be ready. And he is gonna pull him back. Silenced.
None have ever escaped
All right.
Sanguine Depths, and neither will you.
This place is, this is where this pull can be kind of heavy in damage, but it's really important that you have, like, full mana before you go across the bridge, just because of the gauntlet up there. Yes, you can sometimes drink in the gauntlet, but you never know before it happens whether you're gonna have time or not. So it's really important to be a little extra careful. Like, none of this is unhealable amounts of damage, but it's a lot of damage. Like, if I was on my Discipline Priest, I would just be crying right now. Or, I guess instead of, I would be crying, but, like, while spamming Shadow Mend, which also makes me cry. So, like, double crying. Have I said yet that I miss Mist of Pandaria Discipline Priest? Because it was so good then. Alright, so I'm zooming forward and I'm drinking. And the tank is not an idiot. He is waiting for me. Because he knows that this is going to be, like, long. Alright. Thunder Focus tee up. Get a couple of long renewing mists out.
Slay them all.
And start spinning. Everybody's pretty good. They get in where they're supposed to. I'm, like, running low on mana already. Probably because I keep using Feline Stomp. Feline Stomp is, terrifying. Alright, I caught a second. That's where you gotta be paying attention, because all you have is about a second to sit and drink. And it's not much, like, you don't want to stay back there too long, because if the Gloom Squall happens and you need to go stand in the good stuff, in the barrier, then, like, you need to be close enough to be able to get into the barrier. But, like, a couple of seconds of drinking is way better than none here. It allows me to be a little more reckless. Alright, we can see, the end is, like, in sight, practically, alright? We can see, we're getting closer. My mana's running low again, but, like, this is where I need to be thinking, like, alright, if I get a chance to drink again, I need to take it. But I don't. And this is where it's a mistake, because the tank isn't going to fight just those two guys by themselves. He's going to pull everything up here together. So, like, I definitely should have tried to get a little sip of drink in there. but the mobs just die so fast, it's like, whatever. I'm running on fumes. And I really, really should not have used Feline Stomp there, just because it's expensive. Dead. Get a drink. Yep. I'm already learning the ways of the world here. The ways of the Sanguine Depths. Which is sit and drink literally whenever you get a shot. Because in a lot of these groups, you won't get a shot at all. So if you get anything... Cocooned that poor rogue there who, I don't know, probably stood in something, but that's okay. I didn't remember what his gear was like, but it probably wasn't very good here. So I'm sure he was suffering. Alright, Tiger's Lust myself. Sit and drink. Most tanks can handle themselves against this pack pretty easily. When things start looking a little rough, though, like, I just don't feel comfortable sitting because I don't want to take the time to revive anybody when I might just need, like, a sip before the boss. Alright. So I have most of my mana. It should be fine. Tank shrouded, and I'm not sure why. Like, maybe it was so I could get a sip. But I realized that, like, it's fine. I can't judge anybody for getting hit with that stupid thing because, like, I get hit by the boss's ability. The Wicked Rush, I get hit by it a lot. I've tried to sidestep it, and I'm really bad at it. But I feel like it depends, too, on when he does it. So, like, if he does it at a time where nothing else is going on, it's not too bad. But when he does it when you've got, like, the lines to dodge, too, then I feel like it kind of sucks. I'm frankly just like... Oh, like, let's get hit with that. Yeah. This would be a good time to revival, just to, like, top everybody off for, like, very little cost. Tank coming in clutch. There we go. I was, like, really scared of this fight, but I think I realized that the scariest part about this fight is really just the one-shot mechanic of getting absolutely blasted off the cliff. And so long as the tank actually uses the ability, there's no reason that you would die there. So in my mind, it's one of those things where it's like... I mean, if they don't, you're all dead. It's not... I mean, except for people that can teleport, or, like a demon hunter, maybe, that can fly back down. I could Transcendence back, but I'm too stupid to, like, to even figure that out. So, it's because I suck, actually. I don't even know that now I could, like, remember to do it. That said, it's an option. So, here we have the Draenei Racial coming in clutch again. I'm running on nothing. I have Cocoon, though, so I could have always used that. But we made it. We plus one'd it, which isn't amazing, but, like, you know, neither was I amazing. I'll take a +1.
My mana is low. Go, mortals. I
Everybody being all wholesome. Night Fae Marksman isn't good. I mean, it is though, actually. It's not as I don't think it's fun, but yeah. Poor Rogue never gets weapon. It do be like that sometimes. I'm like, ooh, a shiny guy, what does he do? And then I'm just so stupid, I don't even know. I'm like, what even is my key? I don't know. Alright. Hard thing we go. And like that was a nice group, right? I mean, it wasn't wildly successful. We didn't +2 it or anything, but we did time it and everybody was nice to be with. So, I'll take that as a win. And I'm like hella annoyed I get 226 boots as well as even though I just got 226s from the vault. But I'm going to save the boots, I think, because eventually I'll be like I can upgrade the boots, but I can't upgrade what I got from the vault. So, we're good. My original intention with the reservoir, by the way, was to like get the teleport to Ouroboros in there, but I'll be real with you, like it costs so much anima, it's not even worth it. It's not even worth it. But I did get a couple of weeklies done, so it's pretty cool. You might as well. You can see my renown's already at 76, so like just playing the game, you do pretty well. And we didn't get anything particularly cool here, but we got some money, which is good. We like money. The callings give so much gold. It's like, you should at least pick them up if you're going to do Mythic Plus, because about 3/4 of the callings can be done through, you know, various Mythic Plus dungeons anyway. So, it's not like it hurts anything to pick them up. So it's time to maybe look for another group. And I have a few dungeons I haven't done on Tyrannical yet, so it might be worth trying to get some of them done. And at this point, it's like, all right, so I've done a 9, and I think some people would think, well, I shouldn't even bother doing anything under a 9 at this, you know, because I've already got a 9. Like, I should be going higher, not like backward. But at the same time, it's like, look at all these timed keys I have. I should be trying to get literally anything that I could get to fill those 4 blank spots. Because I don't have a Halls, DOS, Plaguefall, or Spires on Tyrannical, and like those at any key level are gonna get me some kind of score. So what I should be doing is looking for like anything that I can get to push my score up a bit. My Raider IO is only like 890, so I need to fill in the gaps, so to speak. And we have some options here. We have this 9 halls, which, you know, I would love to get into because I like Halls of Atonement. Again, I'm not scared of it. I don't have high hopes of getting into it because my score isn't that high, and neither is the group leader. And they're probably looking for people that can like make up for them. So like if their score isn't high, they're probably looking for people that are high just so that they can like I don't want to say carry them because it's not necessarily specifically to carry, but it's like to balance things out. Because, like, if the tank doesn't have a lot of gear or anything, like, having a strong healer is going to help make up for that. So, I'm looking at these groups. Like, this would be another one I could probably apply to. There we go. I'm getting a little less scared. Like, I'm hesitant, but I'm like, I just did a 9 and didn't wish for death. So, and I'm spying, and like, I don't want to do a 2, even though, like, I kind of look at it a little bit. I don't really want to do a 2 because that's maybe going a little too far backward. But anything like 5 and up sounds like it might be a good option. Unfortunately, being Alliance means, like, there aren't a lot of keys going at any one time, so, I mean, I think the selection is okay. Obviously, when we can get some, like, cross-faction stuff going, it'll be way better. It'll be way, way better than it is. But right now, there's just not that much selection, so it doesn't do a lot of good to refresh constantly. There just usually aren't that many going at any one time. So, like, if you hit refresh too much, you might be wasting your time. Like, I eyeballed that, and I was like, I don't think so. I do like seeing groups that are doing world tours to get some gear, especially people that are lower gear level. Like, you kind of need to do the lower keys for gear, if nothing else. Like, if you're getting super unlucky with drops, you can't just keep pushing higher if your gear level is ridiculously low. I think my gear level is okay, though. I keep looking at this. I don't know why. My gear is, like, good enough that I don't need to do any zeros. Maybe I'm just, like, enthralled by the idea. Or the fact that whenever I need to do it, there's... there's never anyone doing the world tours when I want to do them on my, like, alts. But I also don't want to start one, so... I'm a hypocrite, but, like, Alright, so I get into this +5 the other side, which is, awesome. Alright, we've assembled our hunter-heavy party, which is just another one of those... Misdirect me, boys! Just another one of those things where it's like, alright, now it's a little extra important that I get Mystic Touch up on the mobs for these hunters, because it is physical damage, I believe. So we need to help our hunter friends. This is going, like, surprisingly well so far. Nobody has stood in anything terrible. We have some avoidable damage taken, but none of it's, like, enough to make you rage right off the bat.
Where you be hiding all them Zandalary souls, Ponsandi? Give them to your boss man now, or you gonna be sorry.
And we have 2 Beastmaster Hunters, it looks like, and 1 Survival.
No. Them is my people, Mazala. No way I go give them up. You always be soft.
This pool is pretty much the first test of people's ability not to stand and stuff because of that cone. A god tier hunter could, like, disengage back if they were really quick to react. But, like, it's better if you don't get hit at all, right?
Mazala got me at a disadvantage. But if you collect me mojo from a few of me business partner, then together we could turn the tables.
Alright, up here we go.
I be keeping this old Loa distracted. Go on now. Follow the path. And don't you be taking no for an answer.
All the pets are wild in here. There's just so many.
No, easily where you might remember.
And I like hunters. Like, I think they're great.
Always be needing mojo for his rituals. And one time they always be willing to make a deal. Well, what you give me that look for?
I checked to see what debuff I had, and it was just Shadow Word Pain, so I was like, I don't really need to dispel that. Like, it's not that big of a deal. I know some of these guys cast a polymorph, so that's, like, something you might want to dispel if you can. I should say a hex, but... wish I had an interrupt. If you get really unlucky, somebody will get hexed, and then the Blade Storm will happen, like, right on top of them. I believe Fizzlebang is probably hexed. There we go, dispelled it. This is where I really wish I had a purge, but all our hunters have purges. Drinking just to be safe. This dungeon is kind of long and vaguely terrifying. Don't use that on one mob. But we're gonna use it on one mob. One mob. The annoying part here is that usually nobody communicates about the urns anyway, so like you have no way of knowing like if he's gonna pull those mobs back to be stunned or not. And if he's not going to, then it's like there's no harm in using it on one mob. It's like we just don't know. Watching a heal go off, wishing I had an interrupt. That's my, like, mood, though, for forever, basically. Wish I had an interrupt. Even though our hunters are kind of interrupting, you know, a little bit. Still wish I had my own interrupt. The dispels there alone are making me feel more confident in this group. I'm hungry too, but for an interrupt, actually. Like, honestly, I mean, it's not that I want to go back to Shaman. I played Shaman for a few expansions. But my god, does it feel bad to, like, not have an interrupt as a healer. Like, part of my job is to reduce damage taken, so therefore I should have an interrupt, right? I would argue that every healer should have at least one of the following. An interrupt, an ability to reduce damage taken by somebody in the party that isn't them, or a purge. Shaman have, like, basically all of this. Makes me sad. Also heroism. Shamans have heroism on top of it all. Now granted, they don't have, like, reduces damage taken by somebody else necessarily, like, by default, but they do have that earthen wall totem. That's pretty nice, if your group will stay in it. Alright, so we got, like, a lot of damage going out here. The advantage of this boss is if your group doesn't suck, and your hunters aren't standing in Narnia, you can zerg this boss down pretty fast. And the faster he gets zerged down, the better. Like, I can heal through a lot of damage, like an unreasonable amount of damage. I just can't do it for very long. Alright. Nobody even passed their, like, disease off to other people, so that was cool. And rare. I really, really like Soul Shape. I don't think monks need it because they're pretty mobile as it is. But there are some classes where it feels so good to have that extra movement when you need it. Especially right there, where you'd have to just, like, slow run through.
It ain't wise to be holding out on Wazala.
You're gone and forgot what it means to be Aloha. You bond with the people, the power you share.
I do figure out eventually that I can stun those guys with my
Counts be dead,
leg sweep.
dead. Be coming
But I don't remember when I find out. I think somebody might tell me that in a dungeon. But I can't remember off the top of my head. I do figure it out eventually, though. Something to look forward to. Well, I learned stuff, eventually. Our tank is pretty good. I'm guessing pretty geared, even though I haven't, like, looked at his gear. He's doing enough healing that, like, it's pretty clear that he's got some gear. That was me pressing down, and it not registering on the frames. We didn't have to kill this now, but because he was so close, it's like, well, we might as well.
You know, it don't just be trolls who be coming to ask for old boy and Sandy's help. All kinds be making deals with the lower adept. Like these two crazy little gnomes here. They both be hungry for power.
I do think that even now, this dungeon is probably one of my least favorite.
But now, maybe needing that mojo back.
And I don't think it's like a bad dungeon necessarily. It's just one of those where it's so long. It's like, man, if I'm gonna do this, like, if it's a good run, it's still like a 40-minute commitment. And usually longer because you gotta take into account, like, getting into the group, getting to the dungeon, you know, everybody being ready and putting the key in. So you're looking at like 50 minutes to an hour bare minimum for this dungeon most of the time. And it's like, okay, that's like a long commitment for a dungeon. Now, if anything goes wrong and you still just want to complete it, it could be over an hour spent in this dungeon. And I definitely, since I don't have anything on Tyrannical for this dungeon, I need the score, so I will definitely be sticking around whether we time this or not. I mean, obviously assuming that the tank does. That was me being an idiot. I actually didn't know what those did. Didn't realize they blew up. And, I deserved that. I deserved being cringe in front of my whole group. Everybody staring at me like, what? Yeah, sorry guys, I'm stupid actually. So what I learned there was actually, oh, those guys explode, so I'm gonna like Ring of Peace them out of the way when I can do that. So our poor hunter died here. I say our poor hunter as if we don't have 3 of them. One of our hunter squad died. And he is just getting by since he didn't break line of sight. But he released, which I guess is the right move, because that means everybody can keep going. Like, I have no idea what this Kyrian Goliath thing is. Like, he must be a soulbind? I still don't know. I think his name is, like, Braun or something like the Brahm? Something like that. Somebody in this group is a literal god who is an engineer, actually. So that's nice. For me, the best part, I hate jumping the slimes. It's the worst part. I do it when I have to, but you know what would be cool is if I never did it. Our tank's got quite a few interrupts here, actually. I'm assuming you would just, like, never do huge pulls of these annoying guys in, like, a high key, but lucky for us, this isn't a very high key. Oh, and our buddy died again. I'm just over here like, at least I didn't do it. Like, at least I didn't die. Thank God for my pod. Kept me from looking like an like an even bigger idiot. I mean, everybody knows it's a cheat death and that you procced it, but like, I think people don't look at it the same as if you just straight up died. Like, oh, they proc their cheat death. They don't go like, actually they died there. Like, nobody does that. Whereas if you die, like now you have to be res and stuff. This where the cheat death is so handy. Like, it would honestly be hard for me. Like, that was close. Like, actually, I almost panicked there. Like, I got nervous. Like, my chest got tight watching that. Like, oh my god, what if I don't make it across and I get knocked off and look stupid? But anyway, you can see our just getting by dude is apologizing for dying. So, like, nobody's getting pissy. Nobody even cares. It's just, like, a thing that happens. Like, yeah, we all have bad days and we do stupid stuff. I'd say in about half the groups that come here, somebody dies in, like, the slime waterfall, the oil waterfall or whatever, and they go flying off to their death, so, like, at least he didn't die there, because that's way more embarrassing in my opinion. And I say that as somebody who has definitely died there more than once. Alright, so my first thing should have been putting Mystic Touch on the boss, but I'm over here, like, doing nothing. Because I'm stupid. We have lasers, and they don't know what they're doing with their lasers. Please laser the boss. I'm begging you. Like, I didn't get close enough. I tried, though. Finally got one on him. I hate the squirrel bombs. Sometimes I get real lucky and I can, like, I definitely read that you could do it, like, here, and sometimes I get lucky and do. But you can see how many pets we have and stuff in the way, and it's like, sometimes I get it. Oh, somebody ran after it. Fizzlebang, our buddy Fizzlebang, is a god. Look, Fizzlebang knows the fight. This is definitely where you should be prepared to, like, be blasting on healing. But also, like, our other hunter is, like, way over there. It's like, please. I mean, he turtled, so that's good, right? But please stay in range of your healer. I can't heal you if I have to move sometimes. Because, like, every step I take is another global that I could be spending, like, healing somebody to full. But, like, overall, I think this went pretty good. I mean, it definitely wasn't ideal, and I took a lot of avoidable damage, even. But I was just glad to get it over with, honestly. Like, that's one of my least favorite fights. If people don't know it, it feels pretty bad. Hakar doesn't matter as much. If people don't know it, it's like, well, they'll get, like, a disease on them or whatever. Or like the magic debuff. I don't know what the hell it is. The ability. Because it's not a magic debuff, you can't dispel it, right? But they'll get that debuff on them, and by default you kind of think, oh, I shouldn't stand on other people, there's a ring around me, right? So, like, even if they don't know Hakar, usually they don't mess it up too bad. But the Maleficence is one of those fights where, especially if you don't have, like, really god tier DPS, feels pretty bad. Alright, so here my dream is just to have these guys in range of this base, but, like, it's not happening. It's not happening. Like, I try to open it, I'm like, the range is, like... Nope. Never gonna get to use the vase. I'd say, like, 90% of the bugs I do, like, they forget the vase. 100%. I guess it's an urn. They forget the urn. I'm like, I just want to open it. Let me click the button, man. Just getting by. Died again. He's having like a really bad day. Like FML. Yeah, I would be sad too, like honestly. I'd feel pretty bad. I'd say been there, done that, but like I think the worst that I did in here on my hunter was on Mozala. I thought it was mythic, so I was looking for like the back portals and then there weren't any. So that felt pretty awful.
Careful now. She's tricky.
I'm out of range.
Also, on that part, like, if you can't make it through in one shot, and most people, like, don't do a great job of that, just, like, honestly, just stand in between the sections and wait. Learned that the hard way on my mage, who couldn't make it through in one shot. This is where a big pool really isn't bad, and it's especially not bad if you have somebody that can remove curses. If you get the curse, you need to jump every so many seconds or whatever to avoid getting stacks and being put to sleep. And some groups are better at that than others. Just Getting By is really having a horrible day today. I feel bad for him. Like, he's doing his best. He's just like, he's probably just like crying at his desk. I would be. They're like, because, like, I think we've all had one of those days where, like, every possible mistake that could be made, we do. And then, like, we know better. We just keep messing up. Alright, we have a vase. We have a vase. What I should do is pop Cocoon on the tank and then open the vase. And this would be a great time for me to use Phaline Stomp. There we go. And spin a couple of times. I say just a couple of times because, like, as soon as these guys break out of the stun, it's gonna be hell. I probably messed up the tank by using Ring of Peace there. I think he was using, like, some kind of something. Some kind of AoE, like, stomp or something, and I just, like, blasted everybody away from him. But it's still better than him dying, like, in case, like, you know, I hadn't been able to help him or whatever. Look at my 1k DPS there. I was totally helping. Supporting my team. But you can see in these groups, like, nobody's making fun of me for not contributing that much to DPS. Like, they might be thinking, like, ugh, this healer. But they're not saying it. And I think it's fair for them to think it. But, like, sometimes you just don't need to say it. Like, if so many people weren't bad in these low keys, then I would be contributing more to DPS. But because so many people are bad, not in this group necessarily, but in general, like, I just don't feel safe contributing that much to DPS because I feel like the minute I turn my back, I could have one DPS that was perfectly fine all dungeon, suddenly not be fine, and it's too late for me to, like, change my, like, tactic and get the healing done. So I got this stupid jump thing. Feels bad, man. And it's like a whole minute. I don't know if this is the dungeon I forget about it or not. Normally, I'm like Spacebar Clown. You know what I mean? If you've ever heard that song. Spacebar Clown. I'm a Spacebar Clown. So, like, here I have, like, 4 stacks. You'd think that 5 stacks, 6 stacks. Normally, I'm jumping all over the place, whether I want to or not. So, it shouldn't be a problem for me to remember. We don't have any curse removal people in this group. There we go. I remembered. I'm pretty sure one time I do forget, and, like, there, our hunter forgot. Luckily, if you're the healer and you don't forget, you can dispel people that fall asleep. I probably should have drank for another second longer, just in case this was a horrible experience. Like, things that I've learned so far by the, like, about these people. Just getting by is having a terrible day. Like, the worst day ever. And, you know, that means it's way more likely that he might mess up and step in something that he doesn't mean to, or he might struggle with, like, getting to the, yeah, to the getting the contrivance and going up. So, which, you know, there was, looks like a bit of a struggle there. So, like, knowing that this is probably going to be an issue in advance does help. If I see that he gets the bomb, I can always, like, cocoon him. And there he is, he's got it. And I don't cocoon him, I just put, like, a thing on him. But, like, a cocoon might have been more helpful. Or even a cocoon on the tank would have been more helpful. Because he didn't, like, even turtle it. Now, you watch the cast time so you don't go up too early. Okay, so here's a good thing. Just getting by, got hit by that, because he obviously doesn't know the mechanics, or he's having a bad day, maybe both. And, but he did use his self-heal. Look at that, he's got the bomb again, he doesn't know what he's doing. He just explodes. It's nothing I can't heal through at this level, but, like, put it up a couple of key levels, and now, like, it's gonna suck. This is only a 5, by the way. Like, imagine the damage on, like, a 10 or a 15. Alright, so the tank is going front left. Fizzle is going back left. Alright, and the tank is noticing we didn't get our count, so he's gonna go grab one more bird for count. I do put Mystic Touch on this bird. Look, I don't always do my job correctly, but every now and then I bust out like a pro gamer move, like putting Mystic Touch up. Alright, so this is where I'm not gonna sit and drink because we have quite a long walk back, and I want to be with the group when we get back, but also, by the time we get back, I will probably have my mana back. Alright, so we have front left, back left. Alright, and I'm supposed to go with August. Probably because the tank is way over geared and can kill by himself. Oh, never mind. Oh, yeah, go with just getting by. Yeah. Yeah, he's clearly our weak link here. Alright, where are we going now? Okay.
You think you're one boss man? Maybe you've been skulking in the shadows for too long. Come on now, heroes. Bring the mojo back and help me put this whole load.
This is just... Everybody is so confused here. Like, we got all... I think that, click on the thingy. Yeah. Alright, so here, I remember this fight. I remember this fight very well. The more I do this, the more I get used to this stupid debuff. Alright. So. Are you ready for this? Are you ready? Here we go. Bam! Our pal getting blasted. And if I remember correctly, he's gonna get hit by this every single time. Alright, gonna hit the right side. Just getting by, gets blasted. He does use his self-heal, which is something, but... Alright, Shadow Reality. This is me. I am a coward, and the faster that you get to through the gate, the better, just because I am definitely not one of those people that can, like, take my sweet time. I have to stop DPSing because I'm scared. That's where you should probably be saving that. Alright. We're doing okay so far. Things are looking kinda good. Could be worse. I love running fast, by the way. I mean, it might be in the name, Fast Cats, since this channel was originally made because of gold farming. And I had a team of speed druids that I ran old instances with, but just getting by, like, look, I see his game plan. His plan is he needs to be on the right side so he remembers his portal and doesn't, so he's not too far away. But man, he just gets hit by everything. He's having a bad day, though. That's what we're gonna go with. Like, maybe he's got the COVID or something. He feels like crap.
The shadows take ya. Your life be mine. So small, so weak.
I'm really bad at Shadow Reality. I just go, like, wherever. Now I know how it works a little bit better, but, like,
Me be the true god of death.
clicky.
Count me out yet, old Loa.
Because at least we all came here. It looks like everybody just followed everybody else. Or they knew how it worked. It's hard to know. I just went to the portal that, like, I knew about. Because I wasn't needed anyway. It's not like my DPS would have been amazing, but... Alright, here we go. We done. And we timed it +2 with all of the mistakes that were happening.
Mortals never be as weak as you believe them to be. You see, they are.
Unfortunately, no trinket for our poor demon hunter, but he did his best.
You're gonna be having plenty of time to learn from your mistakes.
All right. I mean, I think that went pretty good. I guess it's just proof again. And granted, if this was a 15, all of those mistakes would have definitely left this untimed. But there's room, there's a little bit of room to make mistakes. Like, I made plenty in this dungeon, and so did our poor hunter who was having a bad day. So there's plenty of room for making mistakes when you're starting out. Just get out there and try. You'll learn. If you see yourself taking a lot of damage, get details, get the avoidable damage taken, like, add on 2 details, and then set it up in there. It's under scripts. So, like, just slap that bad boy in there, and you can look at it. Look at yourself. Don't worry about other people. Look at yourself. I took a lot of damage that dungeon. I'm not sure what I was doing wrong. Boom. You will know immediately what you were doing wrong, if you didn't before. And then you could look it up online, like, let me watch that fight again. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe maybe it's like an easy fix. And for our buddy just getting by, it would be as simple as looking at the Moisala fight again and being like, oh, I stood in that every single time. And all I have to do is just, like, move to the other side of the platform to avoid it. And then it's like, boom! He could probably do this dungeon on a 10 or a 15 and not cause his healer to have an aneurysm. Which, by the way, I didn't have an aneurysm healing that. It was a little frustrating, But you just have to accept, like, yeah, people are going to make mistakes, and especially at lower keys, you're going to get people that are learning. So you just have to hope that they leave the dungeon and try to, like, look at what they did wrong and try to do better next time. Before I forget about our bingos, we definitely got some in these two dungeons. So let's look at the painful one first. I'm gonna go ahead and say that our buddy just getting by gets us the someone stood in bad to the point of being unhealable because, like, I don't know, there were just a couple cases where he died, like, very suddenly. And I don't think I could have healed through that, even if I would have known that he was about to do that. I mean, maybe I could have cocooned him, but, like, I don't know. Like, there's a reasonable level to expect to be able to heal through, and he definitely, like, went over that threshold a couple of times. And then for our wholesome bingo, I'm gonna go ahead and say that Fizzlebang is gonna get us a good survival hunter one. He wasn't always the best in the group, but like on the final boss, he took the least amount of avoidable damage there. And you know what? Honestly, throughout most of the run, he was doing things like interrupt. He was getting the squirrel bomb. I felt like he was a pretty good survival hunter. I enjoyed having him in the group. Also, for I would argue the same dungeon, the tank was easy to heal. And in the Sanguine Depths that we did, the +9, the tank is literally the reason why we timed the key. Just because we would have wiped on the, I don't know, the Castigate boss or whatever, if he hadn't been doing any, like, group healing. So, boom, one step closer to bingo on pretty much all of these. Like, we're, like, literally one away from a bingo on Wholesome Bingo, so, like, in a couple of places actually we have the diagonal there, and then the next to the right hand column there, that's another one where we're like literally one away from having a bingo. So I'm starting to think maybe we're going to get a bingo and wholesome bingo before we get one in painful bingo, but it's just a fun exercise to see which one gets filled out first. Anyway, that's all we have time for today. Happy healing out there, and I'll see you guys in the next one.